All right, so we're popping right back in. So one of the things that we want to talk about is what are the logical next steps for both of these fighters. When I say that, I'm speaking of David Benavidez and then Demetrius Andrade. Okay, so we left the last segment kind of giving these kind of hypotheticals of how these fighters might perform really against Canelo Alvarez and out there. So I kind of jumped in on like Coach, but so Coach, you were kind of talking about how you thought that Demetrius Andrade would fare against Canelo Alvarez and where you were we were kind of talking about hypotheticals. So we'll use that to lead off, but we want to kind of bring it around to what are the next, because I have an opinion about what these fighters should do next. All right, go ahead,
Right.
Coach.
Well, all right. Well, first of all, let me say that to Boston, bro, you should never use no hypothetical, in this game, unless you're talking about some fantasy league stuff. Because at the end of the day, bro, bottom line of it is, every time we have a show, we give our quote predictions about what's gonna happen. So you basically calling our predictions a hypothetical. You know what I'm saying? Because you said you have no idea what's going to happen. So I'm getting ready to say, no, bro, I do have an idea what's going to happen. Just like I had an idea that Benavidez was going to lump Andrade up. So I don't think stuff is so hypothetical, bro. It's a boxing prediction. That's all I'm gonna say on that. Hypotheticals, bro. Nah. So my prediction then is Canelo will have lumped them up too.
Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see
ahead,
because we'll see because Andrade, what's it called? Canelo's going to lose to Benavidez too. If that fight happens, and both of these guys will be coming off of losses, and I could see a scenario where at the end of both of these guys' careers, they try to fight each other because there is some history there. We'll get a chance to see.
Hey, Boston, hold on, because you kind of broke up for 1 second. You were saying that both of these guys will be coming off of losses. Like I think
I can envision a scenario where both of these guys are at the end of their career, the last fight or two of their career, whenever it is, 2 years, 2.5 years from now.
Both for what guys though?
Well, Andrade and Canelo.
Okay,
where I can envision a scenario where both of these guys, they've got nothing left to lose, nothing left to win except for some money, and they fight each other. So I think there is still a chance that we see that fight. There's still a chance.
Really,
not a good one, but I think there is a chance. Now, do you want me to talk about moving forward? Or do you want to go back to Coach Dave?
No. I mean, that's kind of interesting. I mean, I want to give you an opportunity to react to Coach, but let's start with we're going to end with David Benavidez. We want to give him his due, but let's start with Demetrius Andrade. What should he do next?
He need to figure out a way, get with Victor Conti and all these
he's already with Victor Conti. Like,
what I mean is sit down and talk with him and figure out a way for his ass to get back down to 160. He does, to me, that I don't think that he has the durability to compete with any of the top 4 or 5 guys at 168 pounds.
So at 35, 36 years old, drop down 8 pounds. And this is what he's going to have the energy to do that?
I don't know. That's why I say get with Victor Conti, who's supposed to be this brilliant nutritionist, and see what he says. If he can't get down to 160 for whatever reason, he needs to tread carefully. His success at 168 is going to depend entirely on who he fights. And it can't be any of the top 4 guys. He don't have the durability for a Morrell. A guy like Mbili, I think, stops him. We already saw David Benavidez run through him. And some of the other guys at 168 pounds, I don't know how big of a puncher.
That's like any top 5 echelon.
I don't think Andrade is a top. He may be on the fringes of top 5 at 168 pounds. Maybe a fringe top 5 guy. He can't take shots. He can't take shots from those guys at 168 pounds. I don't believe he can. I
want to say something real quick before I throw to Coach, because you argue with me. I said that this has been the most mismanaged career that I've seen in boxing. Maybe I thought too much of his talent, but this right now he's a gatekeeper, it sounds like. There's no way that he's going to build towards a Hall of Fame career. And he's just going to be known as a guy that got thrashed by David Benavidez. Like, he has no significant win on his ledger.
Well, let me ask you this. Since Coach Dave reinvigorated the hypothetical thoughts, how would you like him against a guy like Carlos Adames or Jean Beck? What do you think his chances are against those guys?
Go ahead, Coach.
Hey, I ain't gonna, you know, when it comes to where folks go next and fights can be made, I mean, you know, I seriously, man, you know, just straight pay homage to Boston on that stuff, man, because, you know, bro, if I ever manage to, you know, get a solid fighter, you know, I'm gonna be talking to you about how to move him and stuff, because he'd be spot on with it, bro. So I know we talk, jump back and forth, but make no mistake about it. Let me be crystal clear, you know. He'd be spot on with that stuff, man. And I like his idea of him going down to 160, man. I mean, you know, Ezra Laurie and, you know, Adame, you know, I don't know, Jerry, to be honest with you, man, how I would predict it. I have to go back and take a look at some of those guys, but I would at least say he has a chance to recoup himself a little bit. So I'm 100% behind what Jerry just said. I think even in the IBF, I'm not even sure if they got anybody ranked number 1 or number 2. I mean, other than whoever the champion. I
believe John Beck. John Beck is unified now.
And this is we want to specify this is at 160 pounds. Though.
160 pounds. I believe John Beck is the unified WBO and IBF at 160 pounds.
So yeah, man. So I got no amplifying remarks on, you know, what Boston said, bro. Just sit down, dude, but get up out there 168. You know, get out of that, bro.
No, and I'll give it to you. Like, Boston has a kind of a keen oversight of like the landscape or whatnot. So he'll pull out names. I'll be like, I don't even know, you know what I'm saying? So he does.
You know who Adonis is, though.
Yeah, I do. You know what I'm saying? But as far as you being able to kind of, you know, match up them fighters or whatnot, I think that's, you know, that's something that is, you know, to be stated. But one thing I want to say is that maybe he's not with the who was that the one that was over in England that he was Matchroom, right? He's not with them anymore.
No, he's with PBC.
Yeah, he's with PBC, but I think that at this point, I think 160 would be good for him. But I think that he should fight people like the Liams, like a Liam Smith or like a Liam.
I mean, Charlo, you can still make a Charlo. I mean, there's history there with him and Charlo, and I don't know what is next for Jamal Charlo. I mean, but that's a fight that could happen at 168 pounds.
And Charlo, who's that fight, bro?
Yeah. Well, what? But you said, Jamel Charlo, so you talking about the smaller one?
No, Jamal. I mean, Jamal's
last fight. Jamal then, okay. So
he blew away 2 times and came in at 166. Who knows if Jamal can make 160 pounds? And look, there's history there between Andrade and Charlo. I know they're best buds now, but look, this is a business. And if you throw Andrade Charlo on the undercard of a big-time heavyweight fight or a big-time, maybe even on a Canelo Benavidez undercard, that's a nice little undercard fight, and that's a fight that Andrade could win. Look, maybe I think Plant stylistically is favorable for Andrade, but I don't know that he gets Plant or Charlo. I mean, now there's the Charlo Plant fight has got a lot more. There's a lot more sauce. There's a lot more spice to that fight. And I think as a promoter, you're more inclined to want to match Plant with Charlo.
Yeah, he's broken up, but he's saying Plant with Charlo because of the slap heard around the world.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
The slap, yeah. So he's actually in the Northeast right now. I think he is in Massachusetts. Yeah, David,
Oh, did I?
Boston,
Did I?
you broke up.
My fault. I say you don't want to. If I'm Andrade and his people, I'm not going anywhere near David Morrell or Mbili or any of those fucking guys. He'll get killed. Maybe that loss has emboldened guys like Edgar Berlanga or a guy like that. Maybe that's a big time fight in New York City. Puerto Rico versus Cape Verde in New York City in the summertime. Maybe that performance has emboldened guys like Berlanga to want to make their name off of Demetrius and use him as a stepping stone. Aside from those three guys, it's tough for me to pick him against anybody else in the division.
Might have how the mighty have fallen. But with that said, let's give some attention to the victor in this fight, which is David Benavidez, who has the kind of the world at his feet right now. So of course, he is looking at a fight against Canelo Alvarez. But one thing that I really like about him, the guy is a true fighter's fighter, because even, you know what I'm saying, he's pragmatic in the sense that he said that he's willing, you know, if he doesn't get the fight with Canelo, which I think that he more than deserves, he said he's willing to go up to 175 pounds and fight Dimitri Bivol. But let's start back with you, Boston. So what do you think is the logical next step for David Benavidez?
Look, obviously it's Canelo Alvarez, right? But look, we don't know if Canelo Alvarez is going to be willing to fight this guy. So that's the short answer is Canelo Alvarez. The politics and business of the sport being what it is right now. Look, if I'm DAZN or Amazon or Netflix, it's going to be tough for me to justify not putting Canelo Alvarez into a fight with David Benavidez right away. I'm not paying him the type of money he wants to fight guys like Jaime Munguia or whoever else this guy wants to fight in lieu of David Benavidez. So I say that to say this. If you do see a David Benavidez Canelo Alvarez fight next, it is not because it's Canelo wants to do it. It's because the people, the decision makers in this sport, the guys who write the checks, the guys who say what goes on TV and what doesn't, have put their foot down and said, this fight is happening next. The same way Les Moonves back at Showtime, when he was, whatever his position was at Showtime, put his foot down and said, Pacquiao Mayweather next. And that fight got made when Les Moonves put his foot down. The same thing might happen here. Now, look, if the Canelo Alvarez fight can't happen, maybe Bivol is next. I think Bivol would rather fight Beterbiev, believe it or not, in a high-risk, high-reward fight than to fight a guy like Benavidez, who has a lot of familiarity with him. For viewers who don't know, Bivol has spent a lot of time sparring Benavidez. Yeah. And look, Benavidez doesn't do anything for Dimitri Bivol at this point in his career. Right. Look, financially, Beterbiev probably doesn't do a whole lot better, but at least there's 4 belts on the line against Beterbiev. So
does he have 3? How many belts does he have, man?
Beterbiev has 3 belts.
He has
all the belts. Bivol has the WBO.
Yeah.
Bivol has a WBO.
No. Bivol has a WBA.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Bivol has a WBA. Beterbiev has got the other 3, and Beterbiev is getting ready to fight Callum Smith here in a fight that's been pushed back like 9 months now. He's getting ready to fight Callum Smith in early January and defend those belts. So look, maybe if he can't get the fights he wants at 168, there are people that are talking about Morrell. And I know I've been banging the drum for a guy like Morrell, and you guys have been anti-Morrell because of his age and his inexperience. My response to that is, look, despite his resume, he is ranked in the same position within the WBA as Benavidez is in the WBC. So I think people sometimes tend to weigh the resume over the ranking, or the resume or the ranking beneath the resume. I think this is one of those situations where you say, hey, look, he's the guy, he wants to fight. So let's make the fight. Instead of pushing Benavidez out of the division and making him come back down to 168 pounds if for whatever reason the Canelo Alvarez fight presents itself.
I mean, to
Potentially
me,
next semester.
I mean,
Next
David
September.
Benavidez is only fighting pay-per-view fights, and I'm not sure how they can market David Morrell, who has 9 fights at this point.
I mean, it's the same way they marketed Demetrius Andrade. I don't think that Andrade, despite the cult following that he's developed online and in hardcore circles, I don't think that Andrade represents any more of a commodity than David Morrell. David Morrell at least is a Spanish speaker, and you can really, really market that fight within the Spanish-speaking community. Do something on Spanish language television. These two can go back and forth in Espanol at press conferences. I think it has the potential to be an interesting little buildup, and there's a history there.
All right, Coach, what's your thoughts on the next moves for David Benavidez?
And you know, so I'll say a little bit more bluntly, you know, but in terms of where he goes, man, to be honest with you, I think it's anywhere he wants to. And I think, you know, Jerry hit it on the head. I'll say anywhere that the powers that be might let him go, you know, and I'm hoping, you know, that they put their foot down, man, kind of like what Boston has said. But, you know, at nobody's stopping this guy at 168, man. No, it's not gonna happen. I don't think anybody is stopping this guy at 168. And to be honest with you, you know, Smith, Benavidez, Bivol, who's gonna stop him at 175, man? Honestly, bro, I just don't see it. I don't see it.
Maybe I would love a clash against Arthur Benavidez. I mean, that would be just the clash of the Titans. I mean, would.
Hey, don't let that monstrous physique of Benavidez fool you. The boy squares up too much. You know what I'm saying?
He does, but to me, what gets me like,
who does? You said Benavidez or Benavidez squares up too much?
Benavidez.
Benavidez does a little bit, but I think that he's got some underrated, like subtle Eastern European kind of like boxing skills in there, and I see that being basically kind of a chess match between pressure fighters who only want to go forward, and that just looks like fireworks to me. I mean,
he fought off his back foot against Joe Smith, which Joe Smith wasn't expecting. Same with Yard. The guy can box. You don't fight for all them years in that Eastern European, that Russian amateur program and not learn how to box. Guy can box and bang. And I think he's durable enough. We don't know a lot about. I don't want to steal Coach Dave's time. Go ahead, finish, Dave. I'm sorry.
I think I'll put it to you this way. I think the guy goes anywhere he wants to go. Period. I think up at you know, even at 175 is interesting, man, because I think Bivol would be 175. So I think Bivol would be even a more interesting fight than Benavidez. Period. And
I think to me it's a little more challenging. The
guy in a different way, right? In a different way. Different kind of puzzle to solve.
The guy never stops moving. The guy never stops moving.
Benavidez, I think, because of the hand speed, because that dude, you know, squares up. But to Jared's point, he might be a little bit more durable. But let me tell you this right now: that boy body gonna be hit more than Andrade's did from Benavidez, because he squares up too much, dude. I'm telling you. So if he's doing
about the Russian guy, I'm just making sure our viewers understand exactly who.
Whichever one.
Arthur Benavidez. Yeah.
Benavidez, that old Drago looking joker. He squares up too much. The body attack from Benavidez is going to be critical, but I give it to your point. He might be durable, and then that hand speed. And I think because of the movement of Bevel, I think that might be a more interesting fight.
What about Mb? Have you had a chance to watch Christian Mbili yet, Dave?
Bro, I seen him fight. Honestly, I'll say 1.5 times. So I ain't got. And when I say one, I just didn't watch the whole stuff. But I've been hearing about this kid, man. I've been hearing about this guy, but I have not solidly taken a look at him. But I can definitely do that, man. Until next time.
I'm gonna send you the Mbili Gongora fight.
Okay.
This guy Mbili, you will really like him a lot, Dave. You really like him a lot. I'm not saying he beats Benavidez. I'm saying that is one hell of an action-packed fight.
He got he fight on the inside?
He lives on the inside. He's he's about 5'8", 5'9", cat from, I believe he's from either Cameroon or I gotta look and see where he's from. But I'm gonna send you that Carlos Gongora Christian Mbili fight. I mean, this kid, I mean, he steamrolled Damon Nicholson. I mean, he beat Damon Nicholson in, I think, 3 rounds. That fight's out there too. I'm gonna send you both of those fights.
Yeah, now I watched him against Damon, you know, because Damon from up there in Maryland, you know.
You did watch the Gongora fight is probably a better fight to evaluate him, because that fight, I believe, went the distance. He also fought Ronald Ellis, also, aka Keem Ellis, from out here in Lynn, Massachusetts. And I believe Keem took him to the 10 or the 12 also. But I'm gonna see if I can send you those fights. That's an entertaining fight too. I don't know how makeable that is given Mbili's promotional affiliation, but anyway, we'll see. I hope it's Canelo next, but we've seen how this guy's moved the last half of his career. So yeah.
Well, let me go on the record to say, and I don't care who I piss off. Canelo is just a straight out. He running. He does not.
He definitely does not want this smoke.
Say what you want to say in the comments. I don't care. Canelo does not want no part of Benavidez. Canelo is a straight
punch him.
Body part.
It'd be target practice. It'd be target practice for Benavidez in there. Canelo, I just don't think Canelo throws enough punches. The volume and the length too. He can kick your ass from 6 feet away from you with them long arms. I mean, yeah. Anyway, I know we showed on time, Cam. So
with that statement, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this and jump into our next segment.